Alrighty team, welcome back to Kinstretch this week. Today I am going to try to teach everything in a standing position to give you guys access to a lot of the stuff that we work in that might be more complicated positions for some folks. And that's not to say someone who is missing mobility or things like that, but sometimes a position on the ground, such as 90-90, might be challenging for somebody because of the way that it puts their back into a particular position, or having to hold themselves up is making their shoulder sore. So it's not always necessarily the joints that are being challenged that are the issue. Sometimes it's something somewhere else. So I think it's valuable from time to time to go through a standing only class. I think I'll be able to cover just about everything in standing. And to show you guys what that practice is like. Generally, it will have minimal equipment, although I am going to ask you guys to have a few things on hand today to make things easier, but you'll be able to practice the skills with just a piece of furniture. Now, let's go over what you'll need for today. You're going to need yoga blocks will be helpful if you have 2 yoga blocks. And we'll go over how to use those so that you can stick with 2, but potentially get extra help from just those 2. It's always helpful to have the tennis balls, and then you'll want a broomstick or a dowel or some type of rod. If you have a flag hanging outside your house, just go outside and grab that flagpole and take that and use that. But lots of different options. But anything that you have, usually the best option is like a mop or a broomstick that you just unscrew, and now you have a rod to work with. What I would also recommend is be in a room that has furniture. So I'm going to use these boxes. The idea being that they are roughly the height of the arm of a couch, maybe a little bit high, but it will give you something to work with. And I'm going to try to remember that the arm of the couch is probably not as deep as my box is. So I'll try to not use all the real estate of that box. So like I said, tennis balls will be great. Yoga blocks, great. Dowel will be helpful as we get into balance in some places, and then be near a piece of furniture so that you can use it later on. So let's get started. We're going to start cars from a standing position. And what I'm going to try to do today is, as we go through the positions, I'll offer you guys what we call an out. So if you can't do the first thing that we're doing, there's often an out, so a secondary thing. And if you can't do that secondary thing, then just do cars. More cars is never a problem. So, you know, if you want to bow out of something that we're doing, just jump in with more cars. So let's grab the tennis balls, starting in a standing position. And we'll begin with the neck. Bring your chin down to your chest. Look over to the right armpit, right ear back to the right back pocket, eyes up to the ceiling, looking over to the left, down to left armpit, down to center and reverse. Look to left armpit, lean the left ear back, eyes up, looking over to the right shoulder, right armpit, down, chin to chest. Continue, number 2. Big circles here, counterclockwise. You are drawing a circle with your nose, but moving through your neck. So imagine on the wall in front of you, you're drawing a circle with your nose, and the nose is the tip of the pen. The objective is to draw as large of a circle as possible. And reverse. Very good. Arms across the chest. Just a reminder, the objective of cars is generally twofold. One, to get the largest range of motion through the joints as possible, and also to maintain the range of motion that you do have. So cars on their own inherently won't make you more mobile, but they will help prevent you from losing whatever mobility you do have. Now on these T-spine cars, try to squeeze your butt, keep your hips stable and in place. You don't really want to have a lot of moving around at the hip joint. So this will be third rep, but I'll cue it up for you. Elbows are down, rotate the left shoulder to the floor, lean that right shoulder back to the right back pocket. Once you get there, rotate across, bringing that right shoulder up to the ceiling or the left shoulder to the back left pocket. Fold the right shoulder to the floor, elbows towards the center of your body, towards your belt buckle. Right shoulder towards the ground, left shoulder to back left pocket, right shoulder to back left pocket, and down to center. Shoulder blades next. Maybe I'll do this from the side, just so you can see. Shrug the shoulder, roll forward, drop down, pull back, shrug, forward, down, back, shrug, forward, down, back, and reverse, forward, shrug, back, down, forward, shrug, back, down, forward, shrug, back, down. Left shoulder, bring left arm across the midline. Bicep grazes your cheek as you come to this overhead position. Once you get here, turn the ball forward and out. As you keep twisting in this direction, you get what's called shoulder internal rotation. Come down to meet the hip, and now we reverse. Reach back, turn the ball up to the ceiling, down to the ground, and out. That's external rotation. And come across, number 2, across the midline. Bicep grazes cheek, overhead position, internal rotation, reach back, come down to meet the thigh, reverse, reach up and back, external rotation. Once you get stuck, come to overhead and across. One more. Try to keep your elbow locked out and straight. Squeeze hard on the ball in your left hand. And reverse. Very nice. Other side. I've talked about this before. I have my arm behind me. I'm just trying to feel for a lot of movement here. You could also place your hand or your arm on your chest to see if you feel a lot of movement here. So often what happens is, as folks try to get to the overhead position, they lean back. Try to keep that still and just reach back as far as is available to you. So here we go. Right hand or right shoulder across the midline, graze the cheek, overhead, internal rotation, reach back, find the thigh, reverse. Number 2, across the midline. Keep that elbow straight. And reverse. And number 3, across midline. Bicep grazes cheek. Palm forward, palm out. Find the thigh, reverse. External rotation. Come to overhead and across. Elbows, pretty simple. Let's, just to kind of illustrate the concept with elbows, let's start with something called capsular cars, which is just where you're rotating in one position. If I were to do shoulder capsular cars, it would look like this. I'm just doing internal and external rotation in a fixed position. So for the elbow, let's bend the elbows to about 90 degrees. Turn your palms down, turn the palms up, down, up, down, up. 2 more. So what you should see here is if you look at your wrist, you should see the underside of your wrist when the palms are up, and you should see the top side of your wrist when your palms are down. You should feel this motion in terms of muscles occurring like up in the forearm, pretty close to the elbow. All right, so let's do capsular cars in elbow flexion or deeper flexion. So bend your elbows, palms are pointed towards you, turn them away, turn them towards you, away, towards you. You'll probably hear some cracking from me here, maybe even for yourself. Very good. And now straighten them all the way out. Same thing here. Turn palms over, turn back. Watch the bicep here. You don't want to see the bicep turning. That means you have motion coming from the shoulder. So try to just turn that wrist over. Really good practice here. Hard stuff. And the wrist. So set aside one ball and let's go to the wrist. Grab onto the forearm, hold that forearm in place. So this time we don't want to see front side, back side of the wrist or of the forearm. That part should stay totally still and the hand is what moves. So my forearm won't move. And let's make clockwise circles with your knuckles. 3, 4, 5, reverse. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'll try to demo this, but what you could do at home is you could take your phone, place it on your forearm, hopefully mine does not fall, and then do your wrist cars and don't let that phone drop. So I've got my phone on my forearm here. You could use a deck of cards or you could use something else, like a coaster actually would work really well. I know a lot of you guys are in your living room. All right, so if that coaster falls off, it means that you're getting rotation at the elbow. All right, let's go to the hip now. What I want you to do is use that piece of furniture that's nearby for support. You're going to take one of the balls, stick it behind your knee, and then squeeze it tight into that pocket. So now we're preventing extra movement at the knee, and let's go through our hip cars. So let's bring the left knee up and across the body. Try to keep that left foot inside relative to the knee, and then open the knee. Once the knee gets stuck, oh, don't lose my balance. Once you get stuck here, start internal rotation at the hip, reaching the foot back, letting that knee drop a little bit, coming back to meet the knee, and reverse. Reach back, out to the side, go as far as you can, then drop that foot under, rotate that foot to the inside, and come down. You might lose the ball somewhere in there. Now I'll try to show what this looks like from the front. I'm going to use my stick, but you guys can continue to use your piece of furniture. So flexing at the hip, external rotation is what brings this foot to the inside of the knee. Open, I'm going to run into the box. Internal rotation, come down and meet your other knee, and reverse. Out to the side, foot drops under, leads the way across and back down. Hopefully that makes sense. And then let's get one more. Squeeze that ball in tight. Sometimes it's a little slippery. You can always use a towel. Hip flexes, foot to the inside, open. Internal rotation, back, meet the knee, reverse, reach back, out to the side. Once you get stuck, foot comes under and across and down, all right? So hopefully that is helpful to see from the front. This time I'm gonna stay just set up here with my piece of furniture. So ball behind the knee, and let's begin. Knee comes up, foot to the inside if you can, open, internal rotation, send that knee back and down to meet the other knee, reverse, drive back, out to the side, foot drops under. I'm going to lose that ball every time. All right, having trouble with that. Okay, come on. Rep number 2, flex, externally rotate, open to the side, internally rotate, knee's gonna drop a little and come down to meet the other knee, reverse, foot drops under, come back and down, and number 3. This might give some of you guys a hamstring cramp, which is okay. If it does, use a towel or something a little bit bigger than that ball. Very good. All right, knee cars. Generally, I'll do this facing away so you guys can see what's happening. You can put your hands on the arm of the couch. Take the right heel up, drop it to the inside, bend the knee, kick it out, drop it down, in, bend, out, drop down. We're trying to pivot at the knee, but you'll see the motion at the heel. So heel turns in, bend, heel out, extend. Now let's keep it there. Heel stays out, bend, heel drops in, extend, heel out, bend, in, extend, out, bend, in, extend. Now let's do capsular cars here just to try to drive this motion and this concept home. So bend your knee, drop your heel to the inside, drop your heel outside, back and forth. It's not so much about the toes. There's a lot of movement you'll see at the toes, but try to pay attention. You can look back at it to your heel. Can you pivot that heel down and then out, down and out? Let's go left side. Up on the toes, heel is up. Drop heel to the outside, bend, heel inside, extend, heel out, bend, in, extend. Last one out, bend, in, extend, keep it in, bend, out, extend, in, bend, out, extend, in, bend, out, extend. And capsular cars, bend the knee and drop heel in, out, in, out. 3 more. This side's a little harder. And there we go. And then the ankle. Reach your foot out in front of you, lock that knee. That will keep the tibia in place and just make circles through the ankle, drawing the circles with your toes. My cars are long. This is like 20 minutes, but that's okay. And the other side. And reverse, 2, 3. All right, so I'm going to pull this out a little bit so it's easier for me to work with and to try to show you guys what's going on and what we're trying to accomplish here. So one of the first things we're going to address that most students could benefit from is hip external rotation, all right? So we're near our couch or our big chair arm. Perhaps it's even your mattress, okay? So a bed that's close to your hip height or maybe a little bit below your hip height is a good spot to work from. So external rotation, I'm gonna try to get behind here so that you'll be able to see. I'm gonna need those, so. All right, so external rotation, we're gonna bring the ankle to the inside or medially, and we're gonna pivot around the hip. So if I don't even know if you guys will be able to see this. Probably not. No, not really. But just quickly, if I'm standing, external rotation is bringing my foot towards the inside, all right? So I don't have much active. This is about 0 degrees, and I can maybe get to like 20 degrees, but I can get much more passive as I pull up that ankle. So you're gonna use this piece of furniture to get into your passive external rotation range of motion. And then we're going to perform Pale's rails. Pale's rails address the connective tissue health of the joint, as well as help you create more range of motion. So what you're going to do is lift up your right foot and get that right foot up onto the piece of furniture that you're using. Now, what you'll notice is here, and yours might look a little different than mine, my knee doesn't touch the box. So I've got a couple options. I can try to sit further, which is going to bend my knee a little bit, and that might allow me to get into this position. Or I can take my block and just stick it under my knee. And so now I'm supported in this position. Now, if this is really hard for you and you're stuck here, what you may need to do is get alongside that piece of furniture and maybe just stick your knee on it and kind of kick your foot out to the side. And that's where your broomstick is going to come in handy. So I'll show you one more that you could do. You could just be sitting on a chair or sitting on the side of your bed, and you would pull that foot in and just keep something there so that you can work against that object, okay? So this kind of keeps me in external rotation. If that's not enough for you, maybe put that foot on your thigh and sit up tall as we go through the stretching instruction, and this might get you there, all right? So it's really important that you find positions to train the 4 knots, all right? So this is a class, obviously I could tell I'm gonna do a lot of talking, but the 4 knots are your 2 shoulders and your 2 hips. If you can figure out positions that you can train those 4 knots, then you can undo those knots over time. So there is an external rotation position that will work for each person. They just have to find it. If you can't find it today, continue to do cars while we are in this stretch position. So I gave you a few options. Hopefully you're able to find one that works for you. The height of the furniture will make a big difference here, but that's okay. So here we go. In order to find a stretch in this position, and you may already have one, you can do a couple things. This angle at your knee, if you scoot further over towards the side where the knee is, you will open this angle and it will get closer to 90 degrees. Then lift your chest up, lean your chest out and over that thigh, and that should give you a stretch feeling in the back of the right hip. All right, so we got a couple things we can do. Try to get a 90-degree angle at the knee. That's one. So you're scooting further away from your right foot. You can lift the chest. You can lean out over that leg, and that should give you a stretch feeling in the back of the right hip. Now, from here, let's take a few breaths, just trying to relax into this position. I'm going to play with my block set up a little here. There we go. As you can see, this amount of external rotation is much more than I had before when I'm just standing there trying to move into external rotation. Now today, I'm going to recommend some of you guys, depending, that you have tennis balls in each hand so that you can create tension through the ball, which will help you create tension through the leg, all right? So we've been in this stretch for a while. Let's begin Pale's contractions, driving the foot into the box. So a Pale's contraction is something that if there was no object there, it would take you out of the stretch and out of this range of motion, all right? So let's begin. Start driving that ankle into the box or into the furniture. 20% effort, 20 to 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, safest, greatest effort for 10. Squeeze really hard on the ball. 3, 2, 1. And try to lift that ankle off of the box. Now it's the opposite. You're trying to pull deeper into the stretch. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, you can continue using the balls or grab onto this ankle and pull, try to pull it off the box as you drive it into the box, all right? This is all internal effort. It's important that you create the muscular contraction you're looking for. So I'm gonna pull on my ankle, drive my ankle into the box, safest, greatest effort for 10. 3, 2, 1. I'm going to now just place my hand on top and try to pull my ankle into my hand. 4, 3, 2, 1. Whew. And now one more, same thing. The knee is light, all right? So you're not pressing the knee down or lifting the knee up. It's all happening down here. Here we go, same thing. Pull on this ankle and drive into the box. Safest, greatest effort for 10. 3, 2, 1. And pull up against that hand, pulling the ankle away from the box. 3, 2, 1. We'll get one more set here. Drive ankle into the box. 3, 2, 1. Pull against that hand, and as you do, lift the chest higher and try to reach out further over the thigh. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Now this is a pretty tough position to get external rotation liftoffs or holds, but we can try it and and we'll see how it goes. I don't know if I'll even be able to do it, but we'll see. I doubt it. I prefer them on the ground for that type of stuff. So if we wanted to, we could try that a little bit later. So that's external rotation on one leg. Let's go to the other. I kind of feel like I have this Billy Mays vibe going on here. I've got my little demo table and just talking to you guys. All right, so left ankle is going to come up onto your furniture support. Again, if you need to, if you wanted, you could stack 2 blocks under here. Whatever is best for you to get some support under that knee. All right, so I think I'm able to work with 1 block, which is nice because for a long time I probably needed 2, maybe even 3. So again, open up this angle at the knee to be closer to 90 degrees. You can get there by scooting your other foot further away from the left foot and shifting your body over here. Then you can lift your chest and lean out over that thigh, and that's going to give you a stretch in the back of the left hip. All right, same as the other side. Now I'll go over some other tension techniques. We've done 2, which is to squeeze the tennis balls or to pull and push against the ankle to try to create that contraction. You can also grab your hands together and pull, and that additional tension allows you to put more effort into what you're trying to do with the leg or the limb that's under stretch, all right? So we've been in this stretch for a little while, really not that long. 2 minutes is generally a minimum. So here we go. Pails, rails, contractions, same as before. So this time, driving the ankle down into the box, ramping up 20% effort, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, safest, greatest effort, drive for 10. 3, 2, 1. Place your hand on the left ankle and pull that ankle into your right hand. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Grab the ankle, drive the ankle into the box and against your hand. Safest, greatest effort for 10. should feel outside of the hip here. 3, 2, 1. Hand on top of the ankle and pull the ankle. Try to lift it off the box. 3, 2, 1. Third set, driving into the box. Safest, greatest effort for 10. 3, 2, 1. Pull ankle into the hand. As you do, you can also try to lean out further over the thigh. 3, 2, 1. And last set here. Drive that ankle into the box. Safest, greatest effort for 10. 3, 2, 1. And pull up against your hand. 3, 2, 1. And relax. Now, what I'd like to do, I'll change my angle here. But I want to, from this position, demonstrate kinetic stretching. So kinetic stretching is simply pulling yourself into a stretch position with the rails side of the contraction, the regressive tissue, the stuff that is short, and then pushing yourself out of a stretch position with the stuff that is long, all right? So you don't really have to worry about, am I targeting a specific muscle here or things like that. So I'm gonna demo this. You're gonna go back to the right side and get that right limb on the mattress or the piece of furniture. If you're doing it in a chair and you're sitting down, you can still do what I'm about to do here. So kinetic stretching, let's find the stretch in the back of the right hip. So lift the chest up, lean out over that thigh. Here we go. What you're going to do is think about closing the gap between your chest and your thigh. So you're going to pull yourself into that stretch. Keep that chest up high. We don't want to bend over like this. And then push out. So you're driving down into the box, pulling and pushing. Pulling. It's as if I'm pulling my knee and my foot towards my chest. And then I'm going to push them away by driving into the box, all right? So that's 3. This should be a pretty accessible position for most of you guys. If you need to, you can hold on to whatever object you're using. We're going to go for 8 here. So we got 3. Let's go number 4. Pulling deep into that stretch and pushing back out. If you want to challenge, stick your hands out to the side. Pull into the stretch and push, pull and push. 2 more. Pull, push. You can also, like we did before, pull the hands apart and push. Very good. All right, so what I'm trying to do here, is the stuff that we often do in 90-90. I'm trying to show you guys how you could do this if 90-90 is really inaccessible for you. And again, it might not be because of the hips, right? It might be because of something else in 90-90. Maybe it's the way that your shoulder feels or your back feels or something like that, all right? So there's lots of different options. I don't even know if I used a yoga block there. If not, that's cool, but maybe I did. All right, so left side. This is the side that's more challenging for me. And here we go. So sitting up nice and tall. Again, chest lifts, reaches out over that thigh. That's how you're gonna pull and push here. So here we go. Pulling into the stretch and pushing out, pulling, trying to close the gap between chest and thigh, pushing into the box. That's 2, 3, you can see, at least for me, there's a little spot where my back starts to round. That means that I'm not really moving through my hip anymore, and I'm getting it through the spine instead. Number 4, 5, 6, right there. 2 more. Again, pull the thigh towards the chest and push away. All right, there you have it. So that's kinetic stretching for external rotation at the hip. Now we're going to revisit some stuff here in a moment, stretching on the box and doing drills on the box. But while we're here, let's work on some passive range holds for hip flexion, so closing the angle of the hip. We'll also add some hinges here. This is a great place to have your dowel. So grab a broomstick. If you don't have that, you can just hang on to the couch, that piece of furniture. What you're going to do, we'll do a set of 5 here. Each hold will be a 3 count, so 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, and then you'll reset. What we're going to do is you are going to lift that knee as high as you can while still standing as tall as you can. You'll slowly slide the hand away and count 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. Grab the knee again, pull it in tight, gradually let go, 1 1000, 2 1000, 3. Grab the knee, pull it in, got 3 to go. Pull the hand away, 1 1000, 2 1000, 3. 2 to go. Oh, gonna lose my balance. All right, number 4, slide the hand away. 1, 2, 3. Last one, stay tall. 1, 2, 3, and relax. Whew. All right, let's go to the other side. So 5 passive range holds. This is tough. Stand nice and tall, pull that knee in, slide the hand away. 1, 2, 3. Pull that knee in again, stand tall, slide the hand away. Don't let that knee drop. 1, 2, 3. And here we go. 1, 2, 3. You should be squeezing the inside of that hip. Number 4, slide the hand away. 1, 2, 3. Last one. 1, 2, 3, and relax. Now we're going to revisit that in a moment after we do a little practice on the furniture with hip internal rotation. So opposite direction of what we just did. I guess I'll demo this from the back so that you guys can see what's going on. All right, internal rotation. Another one, another piece of untying the 4 knots that's incredibly important for you to figure out if you can access. So for internal rotation, one way that you can get access to it is to prop, and I'll just keep this nearby for now, prop your leg up on that piece of furniture. All right, ankle is in line with the knee. You can gradually walk yourself forward so that there's a 90-degree angle at the knee. Nothing is different about this position and this hip with regard to 90-90, a position that we use on the floor, other than that this leg over here is doing nothing. So if you're able to access this position, this is awesome. This is great. If you can't, at this point, I would recommend doing cars versus trying to force yourself into this position. What you could also do is find something that's a little bit lower. The lower you can drop the knee and the ankle, the less intense that internal rotation will feel, because it's not being driven also by hip abduction, the lifting of the hip, all right? Now, how we drive internal rotation is by starting to shift back towards this foot. If being on this furniture is not hard enough for you, stick a block under your ankle and you will be in deeper internal rotation. The alternative for those of you who this felt really difficult is to stick some blocks underneath the knee. While that increases abduction or the short stuff here, it's going to decrease the internal rotation, and maybe that will feel better, all right? So for me, internal rotation is something that I'm willing to try a little extra challenge, so we'll see how that feels and if that was a smart idea or not. Let me just set this up here so I can see what's going on. Now, the other thing that I was sort of talking about is getting to where this knee is coming right out from that hip so that I don't have an angle this way or an angle that way. That should also set you up with a good 90-degree angle at the knee. Now, I'm going to pretend that this isn't here so that I'm not cheating and using it. So, once you have a good position for this leg, turn your chest back towards that foot as far as is comfortable for you, and then we will begin contraction. So drive the ankle down into the box, 20% effort, ramping up 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and safest, greatest effort for 10, 3, 2, 1. Try to lift that ankle off the box. You can put your hand there and try to pull it into your hand. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drive into the box again. Safest, greatest effort for 10. 3, 2, 1. Try to lift that ankle off the box. 3, 2, 1. I'm going to try with my broomstick. You guys are more than welcome to also do the same, just to have something to kind of drive into the ground and create some more tension. Here we go. Final set. Safest, greatest effort, driving ankle into the block. 3, 2, 1, and try to lift. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Safely get yourself out of that position, and let's switch to the other side. I'll talk a little bit more about where you should feel that stretch for internal rotation. The stretch feeling should be across the top of the hip. So it should feel like it's maybe either in the front a little bit or right on top. I'll go over again how to get that stretch feeling if you're in internal rotation. Again, the block is under my foot because for me, for whatever reason, internal rotation is a little bit more comfortable, so I can access a little bit more. I could also just sink deeper and that would be its own challenge, but the block is not required, all right? So don't just mirror what I'm doing. Find the position that works for you. Now, twisting back towards this foot creates a stretch feeling on the top of the hip. If you don't feel that and you're turning back, you may be sunk back. And what you need to do is shift some weight forward, bringing the knee and thigh or knee and hip in line, and that should give you the stretch. So, like before, driving ankle down into the box. Knee is light. It's as if we're pivoting through the box. Here we go. 20% effort, 20 to 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Safest, greatest effort for 10. 3, 2, 1. Try to lift that ankle up off the box. 3, 2, 1. Drive down into the box. Safest, greatest effort for 10. 3, 2, 1. Try to lift off the box. 3, 2, 1. One more. Drive into the box. Safest, greatest effort. 3, 2, 1, and try to lift off. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Whew. Alrighty, so external rotation at the hip and internal rotation using an object such as the arm of a couch, arm of a chair. You could maybe even be sitting in a chair and use an object in front of you, like another chair or something like that, to support that leg on. All options here. Now, what we're going to do is experiment with a couple other things. Passive range holds off of the box and things like that. So, what you want to do, this is tough stuff. You know, like I said, I'm trying to pretend that there's just a couch arm here. What we're going to do here is a passive range liftoff for hip abduction. So this would be separation of the thighs. What you're going to do is you want to feel like you have a stretch in kind of in the groin. I wonder if I should use 2 blocks here for me. Actually, I don't know, because I don't know if I'll be able to get the lift off. So let's just see first. So a passive range liftoff is where you are close to the end range of the motion that you're trying to challenge, but you come back from that end range a little bit so that you have some space to move in. So when we're in Pales rails, you can't move. When we're in those stretch positions, nothing moves. It's just pushing and pulling, all internal effort. When we do liftoffs, it's a little bit different. You should see some motion. So what you want to do here is get that leg up on the couch. You're this time going to be facing forward to try to give yourself less of a internal rotation stretch. And then the objective is going to be to lift this leg off of the box, but you need to do it without leaning. So what we need to do first is lean enough that you can get access to it, and then you might be able to lift, okay? So this is going to take a little practice to know where you are. If for some reason, I'll go over this in a second, this is too high, then what you need to do, what I would do, is set the dowel in a place like out to the side, and you kind of stick it back like this, right? And we're going to, this is such a ridiculous demo. But my point is that you're going to set this dowel out to the side, and you're going to do your liftoffs up and away from this dowel, okay? So this is what happens if you can't get up on the box. You're going to use your broomstick to find that spot where you can't really go out anymore, and you're going to lift up and away from the dowel. Same concept, just different range, all right? That's the best I can think of. So maybe, you know, having a partner for that might help. But so here we go. Like I said, lean away enough that you can create a liftoff of this leg, and we're going to do 10. So no continuous leaning. Find that position, lift, and set down. Try to lift knee and ankle together, all right? Here we go. Lift, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the other side. When you do this, you should feel the outside of the hip. All right, so same thing on this side. I guess, all right, yeah. Slight lean away, enough to give you a position that you can lift that leg from. And here we go. Lift. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, I guess I didn't go over this. This is with the knee bent. We can also do this with the leg straight. So I want you guys to try that. Again, this is standing Kinstretch. So, you know, we want to make things tough here. I'm going to scoot this over a little bit so I have more room. Everything in terms of the concept is the same here. So what you're going to do is get your whole leg straight. Your foot is on that box. You're going to lean away just enough to give yourself the ability to lift that leg. Now the dowel is mostly meant for balance, but if you drive it into the ground hard enough, it will prevent you from wobbling around, all right? So what you have to do here is create a lot of tension, deep breath in, squeeze that foot that's on the ground, squeeze into the broomstick, and that's gonna give you the ability to lift that. So I'm gonna try a lean here and see what it feels like. Here we go. We'll do 10 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A little bit harder. For you guys, switch sides. I'm just going to drag that over. Hopefully I have enough room here. Whew, that was tough. Alrighty. Same thing. Leg is straight. Foot up on that box. Lean away. Now, some of you guys might be leaning this far. That's fine, actually, if you feel like you can hold that position. So if you have to lean all the way out here in order to lift the leg, totally cool. Just make sure it feels good, like that hip doesn't feel like it's being overwhelmed. All right, so here we go. 10 on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and relax. The last thing I want to do is, I said we would revisit that passive range hold for hip flexion. I want to revisit that with capsular cars. These can be a pretty good challenge, but also a great way to just sort of see how much control you have over the internal and external range, rotation, range of motion. So what we'll do, we're going to pull that knee all the way up to your chest. You're going to slowly peel the hand away, hold the knee where it is, and then you're going to pivot the foot in, which is external rotation. Then you'll pivot the foot out, which is internal rotation. That's really confusing, but it'll make sense. So I guess you could say pivot the foot towards the midline, that's external rotation, away from the midline, internal rotation. So here we go. Lift the knee, peel the hand away, hold in this spot. You can put your finger right here and rotate the foot in, rotate out. 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, relaxed. Other side. Peel the hand away. In, out, in, out, in, out. 2 more. 4, 4, 5, 5. Alrighty, guys. So that barely scratches the surface of what we could do from a standing position, but hopefully it's helpful to see some of that stuff, to just kind of approach this a little bit differently, which is in a very simple way, trying to just use one main thing that's elevated up from the floor so that you don't have to get down there. Hopefully a lot of that stuff was accessible and this was helpful, even if you had to do it somewhere different than you normally do it. If you have questions, send us a note in the check-in form and we'll help you guys adapt what you learned today. So very nice work, and we'll see you later this week.